Good afternoon, everyone. We are working in our workbook, the Anger Management Workbook, Session 7 and 8, where we will focus our attention on learning about two particular concepts: assertiveness training and the conflict resolution model. Now, in the previous sessions, we talked about aggression being this type of behavior that can cause harm to another person or property damage. Now, this behavior includes verbal abuse, threats, or violent acts. That is the type of behavior we do not want to display. What we want to do is to replace our aggressive behavior with assertiveness. So in assertiveness training, what we learn is that there are more than one person in the conversation. Now, it could be a party of 3, 2, 5, it doesn't matter. But what the outcome should be is a win-win for everyone involved. So the other person is having their needs addressed and you are having your needs addressed. That's what makes it a win-win type of situation. So we also understand that sometimes aggressive behavior can be in the form of this passive type of aggression. And so when we are engaged in passive aggressive type of behavior, then we do not directly go after the person, but we will plot and scheme to attack the person in some sort of way. Now, basically, what's being said here is that if someone was to key another person's car, then they're not going directly at that person. What they're doing is going after something that that person may love. And so they'll key the car because this is getting back at that particular person. Well, we don't want to engage in passive aggressive behavior either, nor do we want to be too passive in our interactions with people because we will feel as though we're being taken advantage of. And most of the time, when you are very passive, there is the chance for someone to take advantage of you. So we don't want that type of behavior either. So we don't want aggressive behavior, we don't want passive behavior, and we don't want passive aggressive behavior. What we want is assertiveness, where you're standing up for your rights, you're giving respect to the other person, and in return, hopefully is receiving respect from that person. So you're saying what your needs are, but you're saying it in a way that is respectful and considerate of what the next person's feelings may be all about. So that's what's going on. Now, in this type of assertiveness, standing up for self, we want to use what clinicians have named I messages. So when you're using I messages, you're saying what you feel and not directly or indirectly attacking the other person. So basically, what's being done here is you're communicating in a way that you're expressing your feelings and not pointing the fingers at someone else. So one of the questions that's here is, what are some problems that you may experience if you act aggressively during conflicts with others? Well, of course, you're going to have verbal dispute that can be very, very, self-depreciating. but also can make the other feel less than a human being if it's too aggressive. But also it can lead to fights, and someone can be harmed as a result of it. And that may not be the intention at the beginning when you want to confront this person about whatever the issue may be. So keep in mind that there's always an alternative, and that alternative is showing respect but expressing your feelings at the same time. What are some problems that you may experience if you respond passively during conflicts? Well, of course, people could take advantage of you, as I mentioned before, because you're too passive. That means that they know that you won't stand up for yourself. And as a result, they may walk over you. So we don't want that type of behavior too. What are some of the advantages of acting assertively when trying to resolve the conflict? Well, you're standing up for yourself. You're communicating in a way that is respectful to the next person, but also you're getting your needs met. Hopefully, the other person is also getting their needs met, because basically we are human beings with an array of needs. And the only time that someone acts aggressively is if they feel as though their needs are not respected and are not addressed. And so it doesn't always start out as instantaneous anger, but what it does is it mounts over a period of time. And once it mounts over that period of time, then it becomes very aggressive. Now, this is the whole idea. That first, it is frustrating to the individual that their needs are not being met, and they have tried to express what their needs are, and the next person is not giving respect to those needs. Now, think of a time when you had a particular need and that need was not addressed. Frustration started to build. Well, that frustration graduates to what? Aggression. The person is going to become so frustrated they're going to explode, and then they may verbally aggress, or they may physically aggress. And that's not what we want to do. And so a method of dealing with conflict is to first identify the problem. Identify the feelings is the second thing to do. Identify specific impact. Decide whether to resolve the conflict. Addressing and resolving the conflict is number 5. So let's look at each one of these steps. Identify the problem. So this involves understanding the specific problem that is causing the conflict. For example, a friend not being on time when you come to pick him or her up. That can be frustrating if you're trying to keep a particular schedule. But if this happens too often, it also shows disrespect. Female is up in the restroom and she's combing her hair and putting on makeup, and the date is downstairs, and every time he comes it's that particular way. Well, of course you can see the frustration there. Identifying the feelings. Well, identify the feelings that's associated with the conflict. For example, are you frustrated, hurt, or annoyed by that situation, whatever it could be? The next thing is identify the specific impact. So in this situation, you want to understand the outcome of the problem that's causing the conflict. For example, being late for the meeting, or even being late to work if you are carpooling with someone and that person is always late. So he or she make you late, and then you're losing money, or the boss is mad with you. So of course that is a frustrating and a point of anger and contention. So the next thing is to decide whether or not to resolve the conflict. And so you want to decide whether or not you want to either work with the person to get through the situation, or you just want to let it go altogether. Addressing and resolving the conflict. In this time that you have available, what you do is you address the conflict, decide how you are perceiving it, express your feelings about it, and then discuss if there is a way to resolve the conflict. You have your assignments to do, and of course, we're at the point where we're closing out session 7 and 8. So as you can see, it's not a lot of activity, but you are doing 2 sessions for the week, session 7 and 8. Now, don't forget to do the things that you need to do. Measure your own anger to see at what number did you reach on the anger meter. Think about that event that led to your anger. Focus on your cues. You know the cues, the physical cues, the behavioral, emotional, and cognitive cues. And then think about what strategies did you use to keep yourself from becoming too angry. Remember, if you're reaching a 3, it's time to bring it down. Do not go to a 10. 10 is unacceptable, because when you go to a 10, sometimes it's hard to bounce back from that. So if you feel yourself reaching a 3, then it's time to leave the environment, take a walk, spend time alone, calm yourself down, and then when it's peaceful and quiet enough, then you can either address the issue with the person or let it go, or, just go to your own domain, your own private space, and just don't deal with any unnecessary issues. And so this ends our session 7 and 8. Hopefully it was understandable. I did rush through it today because I'm relatively tired and extremely busy. And so I want to get done as much as I can by the end of the day. And the end of the day is like 10 o'clock tonight. So I am now at 5:36, and I still have approximately 4.5 hours to go. So until we meet again, you know what to do. Stay blessed and love always. See you.